Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel. I just want to get on here real quick and talk to you guys about a new development in my life. So as you can see from the title, I want to talk about my breast reduction. So I'm not going to sit here and talk for a million and one hours about stuff that you guys probably don't care about, because I know when I was doing my research for my reduction and getting prepared for it that I was looking for specific information. So I want to try to be as clear as possible and kind of keep my talking down to a minimum, but still give you guys a little bit of information. So let's get started. I'll be looking down a little bit because I did take notes, so I made sure that I covered everything that I thought was important. And anything that I don't cover, feel free to leave a comment and I'll get right back to you. I'm an open book, so you can just ask me pretty much whatever. I don't know if I'm gonna include pictures or anything with this videos, because obviously I'm using my webcam in my office to do this video, so I don't know the uploading process. Not tech savvy, you guys already know that. So let's jump into it. So my cup size, I want to talk about that first. I know everybody wants to know, usually it's like, what cup size were you and what cup size did you go to? I was actually clocking in at a 36 G cup. G as in girl. So I was, yeah, crazy big. So, and it doesn't sound that big, but you have to think about maybe I'll insert a chart, but when you look at the chart and you see how far it goes down, it's rough. It was rough. But now I don't know, because I think I'm this is day 8. I am 8 days post-op. So I did express to my surgeon very clearly that I wanted a C cup. I wanted to be a full C cup or a small D cup. I really didn't want to be a D cup because I've been a D cup. I think in 8th grade, I was a D cup. So I know what D boobs look like. So I wanted to be as small as possible so I can have some wiggle room. But as you know, going through your insurance, sometimes you don't have that option. They just go based upon what the insurance said that the surgeon can take out. So, right now, I think that I'm pretty much going to be like a C cup. There's still some swelling, but I'm really small. So I went from a G cup to hopefully a C cup. The process is what I want to talk about next. So I decided maybe a year ago that I was serious about getting a breast reduction. I had my daughter, I had breastfed, I was good with that. I decided that I didn't think that we were going to have any more kids. And I'm not saying that those are things that should stop you from getting a breast reduction. It's just that was my journey. So I wanted to wait until I got those things out the way. I was at a healthy BMI for the most part, and I had the time. Obviously in quarantine right now, I had the time to kind of have downtime. I'm self-employed, so I was able to take 2 weeks off. And what else? I was just ready. And so I did go ahead and do some research. I watched a lot of videos. I did some research with physicians near me, and I talked to my insurance company, and they gave me the information as far as what they would cover, what we would cover. I won't go over the pricing and stuff because every insurance company is different. But I have Blue Cross Blue Shield, and so we didn't have to pay that much. It was significantly lower than what we thought we would have to pay, and we just paid the fee up front on my pre-op appointment, and then Blue Cross Blue Shield covered everything else. So but just check with your insurance company and make sure that you talk to your insurance company directly. Don't wait for your surgeon's office to tell you what the insurance company says. And even if you have to call your insurance company and have them send you your contract, what is step by step, what they cover. So if it's an 80-20 policy, or if it's a 90-10 policy or anything like that, make sure that you know exactly what they cover, whether they cover overnight stays or if it's all going to be outpatient. That's some stuff that you really need to know, and then know what they require for you to be qualified for the breast reduction, because typically I haven't seen anybody else say that They, unless you're in like Canada, which is, they have awesome insurance, but if you're in the US, typically insurance companies, it has to be medically necessary, and you have to have, the surgeon has to say that they're going to take out a certain amount of tissue, and then you have to have done like physical therapy, or tried holistic approaches, or medication, things like that. Not all, but some. Most insurance companies are going to say that you have to have done certain things before they're going to, dish out the funds. It's just what it is. So I went through that whole process, and made sure that I met all the requirements for my insurance company to pay for it. And then they actually were the ones that referred me to my surgeon. They told me that I had a couple of doctors that was in network. I chose the doctor that was closest to my physical address, I guess, because I knew that from looking at other videos, you don't want to go and get a surgery done that's like 3 hours away and then have to drive back home. And I will say, because where I got my surgery done at, it was about 45-50 minutes from my house, and it was the most uncomfortable ride home. Like, all the bumps hurt. So definitely take that into consideration when you're booking your surgeon, because wherever your insurance company, if you're going through insurance, wherever they're in network, that they have to use the hospital per the insurance. That's just what it is. And so the place that I got mine done, it was a good 45 to 50 minutes. So I chose my surgeon. We had a consultation. She said I was a candidate. I filled out a bunch of paperwork, and over, I think it was like roughly 3 months, because I still had to do some more physical therapy per my insurance. They filled out all my stuff, and even after I did my physical therapy, I didn't know if it was going to be approved. I just did it, and that was like stressful for me too, because I was like, oh, I'm paying to go to physical therapy, and I don't know if they're going to cover it even after I'm done. And so after I did all my physical therapy sessions, they submitted my paperwork, and I think it was within 5 days I heard back from my surgeon's office, and they said that I was approved. So they called me 2 days later, and we scheduled my surgery, like, I don't know, it was like 4 weeks later. So it was I would say like a pretty smooth process. I didn't really have any hiccups with that. So having this surgeon's office work directly with my insurance company was a blessing. And I just did all my research on the back end to make sure what they were telling me was true. So I did my pre-op. I won't talk about pre-op that much because it's pretty boring. But I'll talk a little bit about my day of surgery. Due to COVID, obviously, I wasn't allowed to have any visitors or anyone stay with me. My husband did come in the hospital with me, but he had to leave as soon as I checked in and I was settled or whatever. My surgery was scheduled for 10:30 in the morning. I had to be at the hospital at 7:30. I did have a little bit of a hiccup with getting my IV. I'm not too fond of needles. So when they put my IV in my hand, I did forewarn the nurse as hey, I have an issue with passing out and stuff, and I'm not really good with needles in my hand and blood and whatever. And she was like, oh honey, you're gonna be fine, let's just talk about your kids and blah blah blah, let's talk about this virus. And so we're talking, and she put the IV in my hand, and I looked at it and I thought I was fine, and then she said, oh, we got a bleeder, and all this blood was dripping down my hand, and I was like, oh, I'm fine. And next thing I know, I was out. So I was out. I woke up and there was 3 nurses around me, and they're like, it's okay, honey. And I'm covered in sweat. And she's like, it's just a little pass out. You just pass out. We get it all the time. And it was I've passed out before, so it wasn't that embarrassing. But I was in my head, I was like, oh, I'm not going to be able to get my surgery now. So, but no, they just took me to my room, and they told me that I had to rest for 30 minutes before they could let the anesthesiologist come in. So I went in there, I changed, they gave me my little footies, I put my gown on. They had an IV in me to get me back hydrated since I had passed out. And then it took a little longer than what I was expecting, and I think maybe it felt longer because I didn't have anybody in the room with me. But my surgeon was actually already in a surgery. So they were like, oh, she's finishing up. like somebody will be in here shortly. So a couple hours went past, and then the anesthesiologist came in. They verified all my information, and then shortly after, I think it was like maybe 45 minutes after I saw the anesthesiologist, they came and got me, rolled me to the OR, and asked me a couple of questions. And realistically, like, it wasn't, I'm gonna blame it all on COVID, because I feel like the videos that I watched, a lot of women were talking about how, like, they were really personable, and they asked them questions, try to keep them, like, you know, not nervous. Or maybe it's I wasn't really talking a lot, so maybe they didn't talk to me. But they didn't really talk a lot. They were just kind of like just going through the motions. And so they go ahead and put me on the table. They strapped my arms down, and they just verified my date of birth and asked me what procedure we were going to do, which they asked you 15 times. And the next thing I know, there was a guy, and he was putting a mask on my face, and he was like, breathe into this mask. And I breathed a little bit, and he was like, no, you got to take a deep breath. And so I took one deep breath, and he was like, okay, another one. And then I don't even remember taking the second deep breath. I don't know. The next thing I know, I woke up, and I was in like a recovery room with a couple of other patients, and I just remember the nurses were so loud. They were so annoying. So it was just kind of like the conversations that they were having was just like, I was like, it's not something that you want to wake up to. I don't know. I felt like I wanted to be in a soothing environment. And if that hospital sends me a survey, I'm going to include that in there. But that was the only like portion of the day that I was like, I could have done without. But it wasn't, you know, too frustrating. It was just kind of like, I felt like it was a little unprofessional. But anyway, so they made me go back into my room. I was in there for a good hour, and then they came in. They said that I had to eat, I think I had to eat 2 packets of crackers. Like, it was 1 saltine crackers, and it was like 1 graham cracker packet, and then I had a big cup of water. And they were like, hey, you have to eat both of these packets of crackers, and you have to drink all the water, and before we let you go. And then your temperature has to be under 100. And so we had to take my temperature a couple times because it was above 100, because that's my life, and that's just what I'm about, I guess. And so after I did that, they got me dressed and rolled me outside and said deuces. And my husband was out there with my kids, and he drove home. And like I said, the drive home was just not that fantastic. It was dumb. There was a lot of bumps. We were in downtown Atlanta, so it was a lot. So, but it wasn't unbearable. But okay, that's the day of. So recovery, like I said, I am 8 days post-op. The recovery, the first day was not extremely bad. I don't really remember too much about that night. I was just really like groggy. I wasn't out of it. I couldn't really stay awake. So I just remember feeling like burning tightness all up in here. That's all I really remember feeling. And I just know that I was nauseous. I was really nauseous the first night and the second morning. Especially, when you get to change, the first time that you change your gauze, I was nauseous. I was like, I need to sit down. I think I'm going to pass out. My husband was like, okay, do you just lay? I like laid on the bed like a baby, and he just changed my gauze. Like, he is a saint from God himself. Like, he is a saint. And when you go through this, just make sure that you have somebody that's going to be there, and that you're comfortable with seeing your body, because you won't be able to do all those things. Maybe not, and I'm not saying in a physical sense, but sometimes just mentally, like, you're not used to seeing your body maybe scarred up like that, or seeing like your breasts are really gone. They're not there anymore. So sometimes it takes you a little bit to get used to. So I was I'm so grateful that my husband has been here this whole time. So, but as far as pain, I wouldn't say that I had a ton of pain, but I will say one of the reasons why I made this video is because I did notice that when I watched a couple of people's videos, like, they said that they didn't have any pain at all, and they were just skipping around and maybe going to dinner with friends on day 3, and I just felt like that wasn't the life that I was living over here, because I was still like on day 3, I was still like really drowsy, and I wasn't taking pain medicine like that. Like I think they gave me Percocet, but I've taken like 6 of them this whole time. So I was just really like tired. Like your body is really tired, and I take care of myself. I eat well, I exercise. I don't, you know what I mean? So I don't think that I think that everybody's body reacts differently, but I saw way too many videos where people were like they didn't feel anything, which I felt like I don't know. I don't know. That wasn't my reality. So you do feel, I think the most frustrating thing is the tightness. And it's like, even when you're able to shower, and you take off the compression bra, you still feel that tightness. It doesn't go away. That's the most irritating thing for me. And so my surgeon actually told me that if I continue to take my muscle relaxers, which makes me sleepy, that I would kind of like feel less of that. But I don't want to walk around sleepy all day. I didn't want to sleep all day and all night. So sometimes I just deal with it. I'm feeling a lot less of that now, the muscle tightness, but now I'm starting to feel the itching. So the infamous itching that some people don't talk about either. The itching is a whole different ball game. You can't scratch anything. So and I hear that it gets worse. So we'll see. What else? Oh, so the last thing that I wanted to kind of cover was the things that I used during this time that helped me out. And I wish I brought the things with me, but I didn't properly prepare for the video, so I'm sorry. But I am going to link down everything that I'm going to say, so you know where to purchase it from. And I think that most of these things I purchased from Amazon. I think Amazon and Walmart. The first thing is a sponge brush. So when you're taking a bath or a shower where you're not supposed to submerge yourself, but the first day I did sit in the tub and just put a little bit of water in, because I wanted to sit down. And in my shower we have a bench, but the shower head is like a waterfall shower head, so everything gets wet. It doesn't spray in one little spot. So I sat in my tub the first time, and I rinsed off my lower body and everything like that. So, but I had one of those long handled brushes with a little sponge brush at the end. Amazing. You need it. The next thing is surgical dressings. I only received one bra after my surgery, and I didn't receive any surgical dressings. So I did purchase another bra from my surgeon's office, and then I purchased like 6 boxes of gauze pads. So they're like you can get non-stick. I have non-stick and just like the regular extra large pads. You'll need those if you're leaking, and I didn't leak that much. I don't have any infections, thank God. But I have sensation in my nipples, which they said it was going to take a while. I have sensation, and I don't want my bra touching my nipples yet because it's really tender. So I definitely just layer up the gauze. Spray deodorant. I used the spray deodorant the first time that I was able to shower, so 72 hours after. I couldn't lift my arms. Like this arm is a little bit more. My left arm is a little bit more. I can move it a little bit more, but my right arm, because I have so much swelling, it's really hard for me to lift it up to put roll deodorant on. Roll on deodorant on. So spray deodorant was like the best thing. A body pillow. So I have the pillow that looks like it's like a pillow, and then it has arms on it. I bought that from Walmart. I think it was like $13. That is awesome. I use it in my bed, and I use it when I'm sitting on the couch. I also have one of those neck pillows, like the ones that you use when you fly on an airplane. That is great. I use that when I'm asleep at night. I don't really use it during the day. If I'm taking a nap, I don't use it. I use it because it keeps me asleep at night. And also like a laxative or stool softener. I was bloated. I'm still bloated actually, but I was bloated and backed up for 3 days, initially. And then I was backed up again for another 3 days. So, I took stool softener. It wasn't that greatest, so I won't link the one that I bought personally, but I'll link the laxative that I purchased, because the stool softener, maybe it was just too harsh for me, but I don't want to recommend that because I don't know. I don't want to put it out there. So, but you definitely need something that's going to help you go. And the last thing is just like my husband and my friends. Like, I feel like that without my husband, my friends, my sister-in-law, like without them, it would have been really difficult for me to get through all this. You know, I had needed somebody to pick up my kids from school. I needed somebody to, you know, if I needed to go to the store, like I'm still not driving yet. I plan on probably driving next week, but I really want to make sure that I'm comfortable and my reaction time is good, and that I feel safe being on the road. But just having somebody there with you, because for the first few days, it's really difficult. And luckily, like, my kids are a little bit older. I have a 3-year-old and an 8-year-old, and my 8-year-old is like fantastic with doing things. Like, I can have her reach for something for me, or help me put the dishes away, or help me sweep the kitchen, or anything like that. Or like, hey, go get your sister's stuff so I can, you know, she can get in the bathtub. Things like that. You'll need somebody, and if your kids are younger than mine, you're gonna need somebody there with you. So that's all I have. I think I'm like way over my time. I was supposed to have 10 minutes, and I think we're rolling on 20. So I'll go ahead and end this video. And if you guys have any questions at all, please feel free to comment, and I'll get right back to you. Like I said, I'm an open book, and thank you for watching. Have a great day, guys.